Hello and welcome to this special series of Ingram Micro's B2B Tech Talk podcast, Coffee with Women in Tech, with your host, Harpreet. This is a show where incredible women in technology share their stories and successes. Why should a woman consider a career in tech? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this series, where you'll learn why tech is just the place to be for women.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Coffee with Women in Tech podcast. I am your host, Harpreet Narang, and today I have with me Caroline Gray, responsible for strategic partnership sales at UiPath. Hi, Caroline. How are you?
I am very well. Thank you, Harpreet. How are you?
I am really good. Thank you, and great to have you with us today.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted to be with you today. I love the initiative. Already when I saw the title, I was very excited. And as you know, I love yourself at Ingram. So really good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your support. Tell me more about UiPath and robotics, because I'm intrigued.
Well, UiPath, I have to say, is very exciting place to work. And actually, we're really lucky because I think our customers also find us quite exciting and love working with us. So it's great all round for the whole community. And what we are, our software, we generally have the vision is to make the world a more exciting and easier place to be. So we bring about automations for anything that can be as simple as a simple invoice reading and invoice transaction, right through to being utilised across pharmaceuticals for helping pharmaceutical experts dealing with medications and creating medications to provide support to healthcare professionals like doctors, nurses, and so on, to automate and make it faster for them to get the information they need. So we cover a whole remit of different things across many different industries. And yes, it's a very exciting, we're the fastest growing technology in the world. We recently IPO'd, which was quite a famous IPO, which we're very excited about, and everybody's worked very hard. And we're sometimes called or nicknamed the rocket ship because of the amount of growth that we've had. But overall, we sort of really just value the execution of working between humans and the machine to make life better.
That sounds so fascinating. And I love the nickname too, rocket ship. So how did you end up with a career in robotics? Tell me a bit about your career journey.
So my career journey, I initially was going to be a doctor, believe it or not, and then converted and ended up doing my final degree in chemistry, but actually started out working for sort of in a consulting professional services area. So really a big change anyway. And then really got involved with what I found my passion. I came to sales very late in my early 30s, well, not very late, but later in my early 30s, and really found my passions for looking after clients and connecting people. But also I really worked in what was called the BPO or business process outsourcing industry for quite some time. So I came to technology. I've always been interested in innovation, and I had a patent for a face cream, which sparked my interest as well. But really it came about, the true story of how I really came about to be at UiPath was I read a book whilst I was on holiday about artificial intelligence and robotics, and was chatting to my husband and saying, this sounds, it's such an exciting domain. I want to get into these companies, and was very fortunate to be introduced to a few robotic automation companies at the time, but picked UiPath, and fortunately, we got on very well when we met and realised culturally the fit was fantastic. So I've always worked for companies that had a big technology play to them, but actually it's most recently, UiPath is my first full technology, pure play technology company. And I have to say, I haven't looked back since. It's great.
Wow, that's one of the most interesting career journey stories I've heard. And the fact that it all started actually from a book.
Exactly. I think it really does actually give an idea. I think about the fact that you can, people often say to you, don't they, what do you want to be? And I always think sometimes that could be a silly question, because I think we can change, and I think we can be different things, from a career point of view. I think there's lots of different things that we can work on. And for me, it was, is find your passion. I just think find your passion and then enjoy it. It can happen. It can happen.
Exactly. And it can happen anytime and in any way. I mean, you wanted to be a doctor, but you found your passion in sales and ultimately in technology. So
Exactly.
Absolutely, it's so important to have that open mind and always be open to exploring about ourselves, really, isn't it?
Exactly. Very much so. And I think that's the key thing. I think it's always nice to, I'm a great believer in authenticity, but I do think it's nice that, we keep learning. We share our learnings, mix with different people, and just interact and enjoy. For me, there's not a distinct compartments between sort of my private personal life and my work life. I think it's important to enjoy all of those aspects and get the right balance between everything. It's good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything that has surprised you about this industry at all?
Yeah, the big surprise for me in the technology industry is quite an impatient industry, if I dare say. And the reason, I can see why it comes, and it was quite a shock to me when I first got involved in a pure play technology industry, was because, when I've worked in other businesses, there's a very long-term cycle of building the relationship, whereas in technology, the world in technology moves so quickly, which is what makes it really exciting and also very innovative. We have to be innovative and always to stay, one step ahead. But in addition to that, obviously the market, so it's not just our customers and consumers that really want us to be, proactive in bringing new innovations, but also the market from our point of view with regard to numbers and selling. Also, it's run on a very regular cadence, maybe even quarterly cadence, monthly cadence. It's a very quite a strict cadence. So I think from that aspect, it was definitely a surprise, first of all, with regard to getting used to that. And I think one of the things we've done at UiPath is tread a very happy path of maintaining that point of being fast, being immersed, but also looking ahead, and to make sure that we can look ahead and therefore look after the future. And that's the future, not just for our employees, which obviously are really important, but also for our customers, partners, and the whole community that make up something like UiPath being so successful. So, yeah, yes. That's what I said. That was my biggest surprise.
Yes, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. It is so fast paced, and it is a perfect fit for somebody who likes that pace.
Yeah, but it's fun. I mean, this is the whole thing. It's fun because, it can be, you see change happening real time, and that's very exciting. So our team tend to sort of have a nice diverse mix of people, and that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your very fascinating career in this industry, what would you say are your big career lessons that you'd like to share with other women?
So I think the big career, be kind or be nice. What I've learned, it's a really, really small world. And I think, it's a small world from, a geographical point of view, but also from a sort of network, the industries, the, different, people moving around to different jobs as we progress in our career paths, what we do, our sort of the people we interact with. And so I think the best thing for me, the big sort of lesson and thing that I would say is just maintain that kindness, because you can still be firm, you can still ask for things, you can still say no, you can still have a discussion, you can disagree. But as long as you do all those things in a kind way, the network then looks after you. I mean, I know that's, for me, that's been my sort of biggest learning and experience and finding really that, and then it makes for an enjoyable time for everybody.
It's good to have that strong network. Yeah. And building relationships really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Critical. Very critical.
So why, in your opinion, should women who are currently do not have a career in tech, why should they consider a career in tech?
Well, I mean, I think there's loads of reasons for women to consider this career, and it's something I'm really, really passionate about. So I think, first of all, it's exciting. And it really is exciting. But also now I don't have children myself, but I have lots of friends that do have children. And, if we look at what's happened over the COVID cycle, it's been something that it's been I think it's been harder on women at times, because I think roles have sort of, I don't want to say regressed, but I think sometimes, we have the sentiment of feeling this need to really look after people. So I think that for me, and the tech industry is actually, for all we say about the fast moving everything, it's a very, very flexible place to work. You can work from anywhere. You can, you can work at any time. It's a very fluid. It has a really nice flow to working life and that work-life balance. So for me, that's a really big thing that I think for me as a woman, that's really attractive to me, because, I do like to keep fit in my spare time. I like to socialize with my friends. I like to travel. I like to sail, which is often, not always, the tides don't fit with, 9 to 5 or certain working. So for me, I really love that flexibility. That's like a really big thing. The other thing I think, personally, being a woman in tech, because, whether we like it or not, and actually UiPath's doing really well on these statistics, we've really fought for diversity. So our metrics are actually very good of women in senior positions and women across the organisation. But for me, being a woman in tech is, frankly, you can end up standing out more, and you can have a lot of success because we bring a different way of looking at things. And a different engagement model to others. And I think all of those things benefit. I think there's a great thing about tech, that some people think that tech is very complicated. And of course, parts of it there are, but there's always those things about how we communicate messages and how, we talk to our customers and how we engage our customers with our product cycle and what the product needs to do. And so I think having that, coming from being a woman and saying it from a woman's point of view of the things that I personally would like, I think has amazing value to the organisation, which again drives our success in the organisation, but also drives the end product to have, a better and more diverse outlook to our customers and community. So for me, that are really, great reasons to be in it, because we can make a difference. It can absolutely make a difference, and it can fit in with your life. So I would love, like any woman listening to this, I would just say reach out, and don't be thinking we can't do it, because there's so many jobs and opportunities in tech that are really exciting, and whatever I think your background, they fit you.
Yes, absolutely. And I totally agree, especially, like you say, even if the product is complicated, that doesn't need to put off anyone that they can't be part of this industry. I do that in marketing, for example. How do I simplify this message so it makes perfect sense? So in that respect, getting that perspective actually helps. And like you said, it makes a difference and it adds real value.
Yeah, exactly. So I completely agree. It's an exciting place to be.
Absolutely, it is, and I think it's there's always something new happening. There are changes, and there are opportunities to grow the career as well quite quickly. The career progression pace
is huge. I mean, I've been really fortunate at UiPath, Harpreet, in the sense that I came in, I looked after a few accounts. I mean, I came from a bigger job when I came to UiPath, because obviously we were a smaller company. And so it was very much a company of roll up your sleeves. But that's great as well, because you learn, I think when you really know the operation, how a company works, that makes you a better employee as well. But also what's great is I've been given all of these opportunities throughout my journey within UiPath, and it's led now to being on the leadership team, having a say in decisions we make, in the strategy that we write and execute on, having great, rich, deep client relationships, which I learned so much from. All of those things come from, and I wouldn't have had that, I think, if, there really is so much opportunity of growing your career. And the other thing about it is that, tech, I think we're always happier at work when our companies are doing well and the companies are growing. It's much easier, isn't it, when you're on that positive side. And the great thing about technology, and sadly, in a way, due to obviously what's happened in the world over the past couple of years, but again, even if you look at, ESG, climate changes at the moment, technology is just in this super growth phase. So the opportunities are quite endless. And that's, again, that's why it's so fantastic. So I think it really is, for women, a great place to be. Because you don't have to stand still. You can stand still. I mean, if you want to, I always admire people. There are some people that want to, have that sort of security of have the same role for a length of time, and you can absolutely do that. But it also, for those that might be, I'm not saying it's more ambitious, but different, and want to change and experience new things, that's always open to you as well. So it's good.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. You end up getting, the sort of career you want, really, match your pace, match what you want, what your aspirations are, and then pave that path for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact, like you said, it's so fluid, it allows you to do that. There is no rigidity in this industry, is there?
There really is. If I'm honest, from my experience, it's all opportunity. There's so much for the taking that I think it's just something to embrace. And you can have quite a big impact in quite a small space of time.
Yes, absolutely. I echo that. So, for example, if there are, for women who do want to be part of this industry and who are interested, would you like to share any hacks how they can go about having a career in this industry?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I think just ask. And that's one of the things I've learned as well, is I think there's the power of the network. I mean, I know I mentioned that earlier, but if I look at sort of, what I knew earlier, what, the sort of 21-year-old self would say, I think, gosh, the power of the network is huge. And I think if we go back to the statement earlier of being kind, of being nice, I think you don't have to, like, I didn't know anyone in tech, anyone senior or anything in tech, but there's always a route. If you suddenly think if you're interested in coming to tech, I think first off, just ask, because as I said, there are so many opportunities. And the good thing about the tech industry, because we grow a lot, of course we have set roles, we advertise set roles, but if people come along with a CV or just for a discussion to come and talk about it, I mean, I've had those types of discussions, and pretty much I'd say 9 times out of 10 have ended up bringing somebody on board in that guise, because there'll always be a job, because there is so much to do. So I think so the hack there, I think, ask, don't be afraid to ask, because, one of the things I've learned is that, and I think if I talk about myself personally, sometimes I haven't always asked as much as I probably should. But what I've noticed in the, probably last 10 years or so, I've got more confident and realise I know I'm not offended when somebody asks me. Actually, often I'm complimented or it feels good that somebody asked me. So I think don't be afraid to ask. I think it's really important to do that and have the confidence to do it. And then I think the other things, read up, as I said, I sort of came across this really from reading. So I think, have a read. And then I think utilise your own network. If you're looking now, if you're someone looking out and thinking, I want to do, a job in UiPath or something, feel free to message me on LinkedIn. But also if you're working in a partnership, we work in EMEA alone, we have 1,860 partners that we work with. So there's probably somebody in your community that has, contacts us and knows us and will be able to share more information. So I think, doing a bit of research and utilise a network is a really good thing to do. And the other thing, as I say, is a flexible industry. So, yes, if you want to get into the product side, we of course look at people that are absolutely not only the best in their field or really good in their field at developing product, but also we have on our, website, we have, it's free to use for the community. You can become a UiPath developer. So I think do that. If you're of an age that you think actually that's a career path you want to take, get involved and do it early. But just remember, there's lots of other jobs. There's marketing career. I mean, marketing's massive in the tech world as well, as you all know, Harpreet.
Yes, of course, yes.
Sales, massive account executives, people are able to bridge the gaps, what I call solution architects. There are so many career possibilities. Business, finance, HR, all of those things. There's many things that, we can all do.
Which is I think sometimes might stop women, is that they kind of think technology equals technical roles only, whereas, like we both know, there's a whole variety of roles from HR, marketing, and so on. So yes, if somebody wants to go for technical, they can still be a still have a technical role in technology. But then for those who don't, there is still a huge opportunity to bring those transferable skills within this industry and still branch out and still be able to grow.
Yeah, exactly. And as I say, the rewards are big, not only, the remuneration is good, but also the benefits that go around it. As I say, we have at UiPath, we have sort of unlimited holidays. We have, I say we don't all take them, but we do have unlimited holidays, and we really encourage our people. We lay on these Deliveroo accounts. There's all sorts of things around it as well that make it, I think, a very supportive place to work.
Yes, which is fantastic to know. I know you've mentioned networking. Just to go into a little bit of detail around networking. So any advice you have for somebody to go about networking? How do they actually enhance or increase their network?
So I think so the basic one is follow up, on people that you do meet. And I think always remember, sometimes people say to me, well, how do I get into like the chief? You're not going to walk into a chief executive or C-suite level person, on the first day. But I think the whole thing, how I've done it is, I think following up, and remember that people you might be speaking today, will probably be the leaders of the future. There'll be some people in your network. So I think that's the thing as well. So, obviously we've talked about the importance of being kind, or being nice. But also there's the professionalism of the follow-up. I always say to people, never be that person that only calls when you want something. Never be that person. But the wonderful thing, if you haven't been that person, when you do call and you really want something, people will take you seriously and do everything they can to help you. So it really brings about a huge value. So for me, I think, whatever role you're in, wherever you are, I think it's important to just build a relationship. And that might be, reaching out a couple of times a year, is perfect, isn't there? Like we've had Diwali recently, we've got Christmas, we've got Thanksgiving coming up, important to reach out for all of those kinds of events. It's a really easy thing to do. It's quite an easy excuse. I think the other thing for me also is, because I know, again, if I talk from my own experience, sometimes we can be a bit nervous about, do we reach out to somebody? But I always remember this is a number of years ago, and I walked into, when we all go to those big conferences and you see lots of people, and sometimes it feels like you're the only person there that doesn't know anyone. That, again, what I really, and it was actually somebody that came up to me, and I had no idea who they were, and they came up to me and they were like, hi, how are you? And I'm thinking, I don't know you, but I was like, hi, because I was just pleased to talk to someone. Yeah. And so what I've realised is, again, whatever level you're at, and it really doesn't matter the level, because we all have those, whether you're, in the most senior to one of the most junior roles, you'll still go into those rooms and have that experience. Let me assure you of that. And actually, I would say leadership is a very lonely place sometimes. So I think it's important that when you do go to these events, and I would definitely encourage people to do networking events, when you go to these events or conferences, don't be afraid to just step up to people and get into the conversation. And if you don't like that conversation, of course you can move on. But also just know it in your head as you're reaching out, that person will actually be grateful to you for speaking to them as well, because it's a two-way process. And I think it's just in maintaining it. And then the other thing that I always say is, but when you do want to ask something, don't be afraid to ask, because asking, that has its own benefits as well. So I think my sort of closing line of that is, it's a two-way process. So as much as you might feel nervous, or you might want something, or you need something, we're all the same in that way from humanity. So remember, there'll be times in the other person's life that connection is needed as well. So just maintain the connection.
That's brilliant advice. Like what you said initially, being a kind person.
Yep, it works.
It works, absolutely. We are almost to the end of this podcast, and I could keep on talking to you, Caroline. It's been so much fun. But I do have one closing question. And that is, what's the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
I think be authentic. because I think we can definitely improve as individuals and we can learn. But I think fundamentally, we are who we are. Our default setting is who we are, as genetically we are who we are. So I know in the earlier times, I used to think, oh, I should be an introvert, I should be quiet, I shouldn't speak, always listen. But, I think just be authentic, be your authentic self. And then you'll develop, all the other things develop with you as well as, the more that you want to learn and the more you want to improve yourself. But I think fundamentally, again, it comes back with, have integrity. I think integrity is absolutely critical. Trust is absolutely critical in everything we do. And if you are, authentic from the start, those things come as well. So that would be my top tip, and what I would love somebody to have known, that it's okay to be yourself.
Yes.
And there will be some people who don't like you, but there'll be lots of people that do. So it's absolutely okay to be yourself.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. And there will be those who would embrace you for who you are, and trust. That's a huge in any relationship. And as we know, businesses, they're all about relationships. So having that integrity and trust is absolutely crucial to those building those relationships. Absolutely,
completely agree. It's lovely talking to you anyway, Harpreet. Really good fun.
Oh, it's been so much fun talking to you, Caroline, and thank you so much for joining me today. It was great chatting to you, and thank you to our listeners. Bye for now.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this special series, Coffee with Women in Tech, from B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. This was hosted by Harpreet Narang. Tune in again to listen to another great story. To not miss an episode, subscribe today in your favorite podcast platform.